This is Golden Rule Radio, your weekly summation of the precious metals markets. We welcome you back this week. We're going to focus again on what's happening in the markets related to the metals, as well as the news that moves those markets and what's on the horizon for next week. And we do this in hopes of helping families protect and preserve portfolios in uncertain times. And we are clearly in uncertain times. And we're going to jump into gold and silver and platinum and palladium first, and we'll get a little bit more into why I say uncertain times.
Well, we talked a fair bit about the idea of market manipulation last week, and looking at the gold chart, we did make some suggestions that we'd probably be seeing a bottom in that gold price drop, at least short term, and we did. It came right into the levels we discussed and has bounced back up. So gold is trading up against that stair-step pattern. Seems to be holding that trend line pretty firmly. I'm not 100% convinced that we're going to be looking to new highs in the near future, but at least for the time being, I'd expect to see some higher prices over the next few days.
Yeah, I would too. And going back to last week's show, we focused a lot on the manipulation of what drove the price lower, but we did say that every time that occurs, it must go up from there. So that is not a pat on our own back. That is a reminding of, the need for you to listen each week and just let the facts be the facts. What about silver up $1 from last week? Is that just following gold?
It is, I think, and gold is acting a little stronger. And silver ran up right to 17 today and is pulled back. It's currently sitting at 16.90.
Yeah, I think silver is going to see some definite resistance up in, say, the mid-18 level, where we've already tested a couple times and failed to break through. So same as gold, we're looking north, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to push through those resistance levels quite yet.
Platinum is up big time today, though.
Platinum really is up big time, up $53, and given that platinum to palladium ratio, we, again, are screaming from the rooftops with our clients. Take a portion of your gold. You should be looking at least 10% of your physical metals portfolio in platinum right now.
Yeah, with the big push up in platinum, the last couple of weeks we've been talking about that, and I know I've been aggressively calling my clients for the last 2 weeks that we put into palladium about 5-6 years ago at around a 4, 5, 6 to 1 ratio. They're now able to come out at a just over a 1.2 to 1 ratio. So to turn a handful of palladium ounces into a handful of platinum ounces, which is a much more valuable metal, I don't see any reason not to be taking advantage of that.
The markets are really moving today.
Well, they really are, and so is the U.S. dollar.
Yes.
I think a lot of what we've seen today with the $20 move in gold and the ratio not changing, this isn't inflation, right? This isn't cost push inflation. This isn't price point inflation. This is a counter dollar currency event. What's driving the dollar down?
And the euro is up. It's at its highest since November 9th, as well as the Swiss franc is in the same boat, highest since that time period. And then the British pound is also at a recent high.
Long overdue, quite frankly. But we've been going back and forth on, are we going to drop below 99, or are we going to see 101, 101 and a half again on that dollar index? It looks like we dropped below the 99, and it's finally broken out of its range pretty hard, down 2.5% in the last 2 days. I'm talking about the U.S. dollar now, not the euro.
U.S. dollar index.
Yeah.
Yeah. And can we fairly say that I maybe won that small bet?
All right, so we're not going to see 104. I take it back.
I mean, the dollar failed 100 and just is falling apart today. It's down below 98. Next support is 96.5.
Well, very weak. I'm sorry, Miles, but that we said last week it did. It even had a chance to see 101.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It didn't even flirt with it. So that's a telltale sign of weakness.
Well, and one thing I don't want to gloss over is, in saying the dollar's down and the euro's up, that doesn't necessarily mean that the euro's actually on a rise right now. So if you look at the way the dollar's been trading over the last year, it's that lowering triangle, or what we call a pennant pattern, where you have compression down into a point and the dollar broke below that. Well, if you look at the euro over mostly the same time frame, it's actually following the same pattern. The only difference is the dollar just moved below its bottom trend line, whereas the euro is just right now coming up and touching the trend line. In fact, touching a trend line that was last made when the Brexit vote happened, and the euro crashed after that. So I'll throw that chart up for you guys to take a look at, but this doesn't mean that the euro's stronger. Macron won, which feels
exactly
good for the European Union and the globalists in Europe.
For now.
For now.
For now.
But and Theresa May is obviously having some issues making sure that everything out of the Brexit vote takes place the way that the British public want. But this isn't necessarily good news for currency. In fact, it might be the opposite. We could be seeing a top in the euro. We're seeing a new low in the dollar that we haven't seen in a while, and I think the dollar continues down from here. I think paper currencies are a mess right now, and I'd be avoiding them.
Yeah, well, and to call the euro healthy just because it's up 7% is like calling the Dow healthy at 21,000, right? Just because you're up doesn't mean that you're in a good spot. So, I mean, the Dow down today over 250 points this morning. It's got a ways to go. I don't know if you guys want to touch base on that correction.
Yeah. Again, the markets are moving today. The Dow and the rest of the equity markets are down significantly. The Dow filled the first little gap that we talked about from a couple weeks ago. And it's noteworthy that the Dow Industrial Average failed to go to a new high before this decline, whereas the S&P 500 actually went to a new high. I don't know if there's any significance or divergence there, but any ideas there?
Yeah, and the Nasdaq did as well. So what's the difference then between the S&P, the Nasdaq, and the Dow? And I would argue banking and financial stocks.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and some of the tech, I mean, Amazon, Google, those are all hitting cycle highs, right? If
Right.
not all-time highs. And we're seeing a lot of news on how Amazon and Google and Apple, their values are through the roof, approaching $1 trillion. I mean, that's also an indication of inflation. That doesn't necessarily have to mean that they literally are worth $1 trillion as $1 trillion was worth 20 years ago.
Right. Well, what happened to the markets in the late 90s, early 2000s when everybody flooded into tech stocks?
Yeah, go buy tech stocks right now. Is that your recommendation, Miles?
I'll speak for you. No.
No.
So we talked a little bit about uncertain times at the intro here, and we really are in uncertain times politically, geopolitically. You're seeing a coordinated character assassination of this administration, of this president. And, I mean, this is something that might be unprecedented, honestly, in our lifetime.
We talked a lot about manipulation, or at least Miles did last week, and Tori came in really heated this morning about the manipulation of your mind going on in the media right now.
Yeah, I was pretty fired up last week over some market moves, and I know Tori's feeling the same today.
I am, and it is a manipulation of
Let's
your
hear
mind.
how fired up you are, Tori.
Get fired up, Tori.
When you have news break that's old news and it's as if it's a convenient piece of new news, to me, that's an example of throwing the ball in the air, trying to get people to get their eye off the ball. But yet all we've been fed is that this is Russian interference in our elections, that this was Russian hacking into the DNC. You've got people that are even on the far left side of the aisle that are claiming that the Democrats in the media are facilitating coordinated attacks on Trump and on the administration because they see it for what it is. And yet the American people are sheeple, and they're buying it. They're listening. They're watching at night.
What do you do when you come out and you say, I did this, and then the media says, no, you didn't, and then the rest of the American public says, okay, I guess you didn't. It's like, I'm telling you I did.
Right, or you see a memo, from Comey, for example, that's been quoted in multiple different ways, and yet always in quotes, and yet none of them are the same. And you can see it in 5 different publications where the quote is different. So what is a quote anymore? And it's taken completely out of context. And yet people now, what were you saying, Miles? 48% of the public is saying that Trump could be impeached.
Yeah, so 48% of the public, I read some article today that I have no idea where I saw it, Twitter or something. So 48% of the public now wants Trump impeached, which I actually think is a victory for him because on election day, 51% of the public wanted him impeached.
And this is mainstream media propaganda, and it's right in front of our faces, and the American public is refusing to recognize it.
It's like Bloomberg this morning talking about tech stocks when we just had the largest ransomware attack in history. And if that's not a reason to have assets outside the financial system, I really don't know what else is. There's so much risk there.
You're right. I mean, it's not, you're completely exposed. I mean, Miles tells the story about wanting to go to the movie, and he couldn't buy a ticket because the internet was down. He couldn't go to the bank and withdraw money for the movie ticket to begin with because the internet was down. And you want to keep all your assets in that system?
If you don't own precious metals outside the financial system, you need to. I think a lot of our listeners, I'm assuming, do own precious metals. I would suggest to go have conversations with your friends and your family. Talk about the risks that are involved in the tech industry, in the technology that exists within the banking system. This is not going away. You're going to have more attacks into the financial system. And do you wake up one day and can't turn your computer on to see how much money you supposedly had? If you don't have something in your hand, what do you own?
Well, and let's not forget internal attacks either. I mean, have we already forgotten about Cyprus?
Right. Look at that. I mean, look at the list of CIA software malware, right? That just because a government owns it, this doesn't have to be illegal hackers.
So you've got external sources that can come after your technology. You've got internal sources that can come after the tech. And you've got the internal sources who've passed regulations saying it's perfectly acceptable in a crisis for a bank to just step in and take a percentage of your assets that you hold with their company, what we call a bail-in. We saw it in Cyprus. It worked to some extent. And how much easier is it if a bank can, instead of going to the government and asking the government to bail out, they can just look internally and bail in. So you're sitting in the large financial and large investment firms, which, believe it or not, are also banks. That's how you have check writing capabilities off your brokerage accounts.
Well, before we move out of geopolitics, I mean, I'm just going to touch base briefly on economics. Look, we've seen the gold-silver ratio increase to 75-1. Folks, that's a barometer, right? It means the economy sucks right now. Go look at the real numbers. Go look at John Williams' shadow stats. The true inflation is declining, okay? We've talked early in the year about how if Trump was successful, he would actually drive inflation. He isn't being successful right now. We all know why that's occurring. So the economy is lagging, right? From auto sales to home sales to manufacturing. We're seeing the numbers roll in. Bank loans. The economy's in a downturn. Gold does better. But that being said, I really don't see it changing. I mean, Trump's even losing the support of the right. McConnell, turns around to be a traitor. He's even talking about pulling out the middle-class tax cuts to have a balanced budget, a revenue neutral type of budget. And where was that when Obama was president, right? He didn't fight for that then, and now he's fighting for it with a Republican president. Anyway, I'll get off the soapbox, but what you need to understand is I honestly have economic concerns here. If he's not able to be successful, we're going to continue to lag. Gold is a significant source of asset preservation in uncertain times. So, folks, these are uncertain times. My recommendation is add to your ounces. We just saw a dip. You just have a great open door opportunity here. And the U.S. dollar has a lot of downside room to move.
I couldn't agree more, Tori.
We'll sign off again from this week's Golden Rule Radio. We really do appreciate you listening, and do fire off some questions, some feedback. We want to try to get detailed in what we're addressing for you. And you can follow us on Twitter at ICA Gold and subscribe, as always, by clicking the subscribe button below this video. And most importantly, give us a call. We'd love to spend some time with you on your individual portfolio.
Thanks for listening and have a good week.